I'm
Of
just gonna
course.
start that. Got it.
Also, I was wondering, David, do you want to set what would be a good date to reschedule for your brace?
Yeah. I mean, I could literally do early next week if you can.
Okay, perfect.
I could do
Do you want
Monday.
to, okay, Monday?
Yeah,
You want to
I
set
don't
the
have too
same
much.
time at noon?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. And I think on that day
Yay.
I have till like 4 p.m. or something because I don't have a student till 4. So that's not too
Okay,
bad.
perfect.
We could
Because I know we
also,
have a lot of like ideas, like three different shoots. So
yeah, I know so many. The berets are so fun. I should have brought them with me in my bag to show you, but oh well.
yes, I'm so excited.
Yeah, they're
The
so good.
the photos that you took, Hiccup, of David, awesome. I love them. They're so cool. They came out so
Thank
well.
you. They're
I was
not
like,
really
wow.
David's usual style, but they're like something fresh and fun.
No, they're
Very
so cool.
colorful. Yeah, no, in the best
Mhm.
possible way. I loved how
Yeah.
colorful they were. I wish I brought the berets for that. Like the clown one with that would have been amazing.
Yes, I was just gonna say the clown one or the blueberry would have been really cute too. But I
Absolutely.
also wanted like a bunch of props for your braids, and I didn't have that already. So I think it was just like fate that
Right.
we're like rescheduling. So no
Yeah.
worries.
Oh yeah, totally, totally all good. It works out. Well, thanks for having me on the chat for sure.
Of
Thanks for
course, I'm so excited.
participating, being a part of it. We're
Of
really thankful
course.
for that and appreciative. Yeah, my other friend Ty, she can't join unfortunately, but I'm excited to get to know you more
That's
and
awesome.
your
Jamina's our
story and everything.
professional talker.
No, yeah,
I
I'm
love
a
that.
yapper. Me and Hiccup together when we were both in New York, we're just like talking everyone's heads off in class, and
That's
it
so
was
funny.
it was like the best time of my life. That was so great. That was like the most amazing like part of my life, I would say.
Yes,
Getting
I'm
to know
definitely
Hiccup and like creating this whole thing, it's awesome. So I'm just gonna kind of give a little rundown of who I am and
yeah,
well basically just my blog and so you can get to know like what you're being a part of. So my blog is called Are You Too Overdressed, which is 80 for short. It's a fashion and creativity blog I started with Ty, my best friend here in
yeah,
Canada. It's a space where we share personal stories and styles and connect with other creatives like yourself. Our goal is to create an inclusive community that encourages individuality and self expression without the judgment often found in the fashion world. So, we come from Vancouver, which is in Canada, and it's very, I would say the fashion world is very
Hola.
small and very like it's kind of hidden, I would say. And
yeah,
there's so many creative people out here. And it's for me, I would say like I was so tunnel vision on like New York fashion that I totally neglected the fashion world here. So I think
yeah,
I wanted to make an importance to give those people a platform so people like me can get to know them more and
right.
also, spread to like other creatives in Japan or New York and just give them a platform so other people can see. So I'm really excited to
Yep.
start this. We're launching on October 8th. So
Oh, that's
it's not
awesome.
launched yet, but it's soon. But we've had a couple of interviews already. So
So
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
Jamina's blog is gonna be under like
Puck, yeah.
my magazine and
Mhm.
Puck's blogs like umbrella. So we're kind of starting like Puck Productions and we're like
Yeah.
Mhm.
kind of branching out because the whole point of Puck Magazine is to be a creative like collection and community and coalition of like just people that want to like work creatively. And I think like you being in Puck Magazine is so perfect for that because you're so like individualistic and personal
Mhm.
with your fashion and it's so unique and beautiful. So
Yes.
yeah, I think it's just going to be great.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
It also sounds
Yeah.
like such a good magazine to have. Like, I feel like we need more of that everywhere, right? Like, I also
Mhm.
love the title, like the Are You Too
You're
Overdressed?
tourism.
Because that's
Yeah.
one of the number one like sentences that I hear
Yeah.
all the time. Like you hear from your closest, your friends, your relationship, your
Mhm.
family. Like you
Yeah.
always get that in your head where that's almost like what you're asking yourself. Like, am I too overdressed? Like
Exactly.
it's a good philosophical sentence for a title of a
Thank
blog.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because like,
been
yeah,
Jamina's like
it's been my
whole
tagline.
struggle.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Yeah,
like I don't know if you guys know anything about Vancouver, but it's very like mundane. Like it's very I don't want to say basic, but it's just very everyone's so comfortable and so afraid to step, outside of their comfort zone. And I mean, I grew up in a family that's very like doesn't really care about fashion like I do. So that's where it stems from. My childhood, basically, my mom always telling me I'm too overdressed, or even my friends, like, where are you going? Like, why are you dressed like that? And
Oh yeah,
it just like stems with and but then I went to New York and I'm like, everyone here is like me, they all just express so much individuality, and that's
right,
so admirable. And I don't know, we Ty also felt the exact same way, and we're like, why don't we just start something with this and meet other people that feel the exact same way? And then we've met so many like amazing people from it too, and learned their stories and how similar we are. And
right.
it's been such a great journey so far.
Yep.
I'm
I
so
feel like
excited to
it's so
interview you.
perfect. I feel like it's so perfect for David too, because he's such like a mascot and pioneer, and like
Mm-hmm.
you just have this
Okay.
like I don't know, this public image of like I dress how I dress, and it's just so perfect. I don't know, the two
Yeah,
things like relate so beautifully together.
Yeah, it
for
fits so
real.
perfectly with like the blog and the magazine. It's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm more than
Yeah,
happy to be a part of it for sure. It sounds so cool.
thank you. Okay, so I don't really know, like, could you just give me a little introduction of yourself and like
Yep,
who you are, just a little gist of everything?
sure.
Yeah, thank you.
So my name is David Roslan. I do use he or they pronouns, but recently I've kind of just been flying between them. Like I
Mhm.
always say my gender is choose your own adventure.
I
Know what
I
I
love
mean?
that.
Like, and that's the same
Mhm.
with my pets too, to be honest. So I grew up in the middle of nowhere, Scotland, like literally a small village. Um, it was an area called Ayrshire, Ayrshire, and very small population. Um, I wouldn't say poverty stricken because someone might read it from my family and they'd be like, oh, but it to give you the idea, it's very
Yeah,
like,
It's rural.
yeah,
rural. Rural.
yeah. And so
Mhm.
like definitely no personal style going on there whatsoever.
Mhm.
Um, and then I ended up following my dreams in music. So I did an undergraduate degree in piano performance, and then I came over to America to study a master's degree. And that was when my life definitely changed because moving from Scotland, which isn't necessarily the
Mhm.
most pinnacle of personal style and fashion and whatnot, moving to America was crazy eye-opening for me. I moved into like an area near Princeton, which is where I went to school, which is awesome. I managed to get a really good scholarship, which is kind of crazy. And then yeah, I ended up meeting someone out here. We ended up getting into a relationship. We did get married. I got a green card. It was great. I'm still very happy. And so that's why I've been in America now for like 10 years, which is like a third of my life. I'm like 32 years old.
Oh.
So that's basically like if I were to put it into like a few sentences, it's definitely like grew up in Scotland, came over to America. I'm definitely a musician. That's my main like my thing. But people know me as that guy on TikTok, which is like, but honestly, like I'll take it. Like if anything, if you're known for anything, then that's a great thing, especially in the fashion part. That's like
Yeah.
definitely a big part of it. But just like many, I have so many different jobs, photography, music, social
I feel
media.
like your music speaks for itself, though. You're so talented as a musician. Like it stands apart from your fashion just because of high quality it is.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna add on this. I'm still in school, so I'm like I do studying and stuff. And I also like when Hiccup told me about you and everything, I actually was listening to your piano albums, like because I love Kyoto, I
I
love
love
Motion
that.
Sickness, I love like
Oh, the
Phoebe
baby
Bridgers,
Bridger.
like Kyoto is like one of my favorite songs, and also Motion Sickness. So I was like listening to it, and it really like made me zoned. Like I was like, this is lovely. I love it so
Yeah.
much. I was like, this is
Yeah.
awesome. And then I was looking at like your Good Luck Babe cover as well. I was like, love it. It's so
That's awesome.
good. It's so
Yeah.
good.
That's so
And
cool. Well, thank you. And
yeah.
also, I'm really, that's so cool that you have done your like research too. Like, it's so
Oh
good.
no, of course. Yeah. No,
Sometimes,
because
like,
I
what, yeah.
yeah.
When I tell people I do music, some people are just like, "Oh, it's another TikToker that does music." I'm like, "No, like I have a master's. Like,
Yeah,
like I do
it's like
like,
so it's more
uh,
than that. Yeah.
yeah,
You
It's
yeah."
can
really
Well, thank
great.
totally tell that
Yeah.
you've studied music as well and like just
Yeah.
composing and everything.
Hmm.
yeah. Like if I weren't doing social media or if I weren't known on
Mhm,
social media, I would still be hustling my ass off, going to auditions, trying to get on
mhm,
Broadway, trying to sing at the Met. Like I would have those dreams. I still have
mhm,
them, but it's a different it's in a different way now because I've realized, like,
mhm.
to be honest and transparently speaking, like most of my income nowadays actually comes from social media and photography, which is awesome, and I love that. But music is still like half of that income as well. So it's interesting. It's the whole
Yeah.
the hustle of it all is definitely real.
And it's good to have like, social media and that like on the side because like that's where you get the reach and like everything because like that can also get you to Broadway and everything else as well. It's like that's
It's
why I love
almost
social media
necessary.
as well. It's like there's a good and there's a bad, but the great thing is the opportunities that you can get from it too. And
Yeah,
you never know.
it's
Yeah.
a new currency too. Like it's definitely a
Hmm.
new the social media currency outweighs
Hmm.
sometimes the currency of actual like talent in certain rooms. Like
Hmm.
for musical theater, it's like they only care about you if you've been on TV or if you have like a certain number of followers. Now
Yeah.
it's like, and I get it too. It's like it's part of marketing, it's part of branding and all of this. So yeah, I'm glad that I do social media, but music has definitely been like a big
Mhm.
part of my like journey, and how I dress too is incredibly inspired by music as well, and the music that I listen to and things like that.
Oh, thank you. Um, yeah, okay. So I just wanted to touch on New York Fashion Week because I wasn't there. I know you, that's where you met Hiccup and everything. I just want to start
Yeah.
with how many times have you been there? How many times
New
have you
York.
been to Fashion Week? Yeah.
This was my third official like
Wow.
season, I would say. And it's kind of crazy. Like the first season, I got to go to like three shows. I had fun. Like it was a little experience, nothing much. And then suddenly by the second one, because I knew what I was doing in terms of emailing, pitching myself, putting together a PR kit, like all of this, I started to get invited to a lot more. And this time round, I got so many cool things. Like I got to model for someone. I did runway. I did a presentation, and I got to experience it from all angles. So it's kind of been like a cool little growth thing where like the first one is like first day at school vibes where you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know anyone here. What is going on?
Yeah.
What time should I show up to these things? Like all of those. Um,
Yeah.
and then you start to learn. It's like a little game, like a video game. It was like where you have to slot everything in to where to go, what to
Mhm.
do. It's like it's fun.
And then now it's like you got it down. Like you got it, you've done it. You're kind of like a pioneer at this now,
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I've never
Were
been. I've
you
always
your
wanted
own
to go. Yeah.
were you your own stylist for those when you were attending the shows also?
Oh, when I was a 10, it's kind of interesting. Like, I want to say yes, but I was given all of the outfits that I wore were by small designers that I'm
Hmm.
either friends with or they found me or I found them, whatever. So like I styled them, yes, but like they gave a lot of the outfits were just like kind of head to toe. So I'm assuming yes, I styled myself, but like at the same time, it was all in collaboration with um
Hmm.
all designers, and definitely I would put in the word like sustainable. Like I was trying my best to find sustainable designers too, like any zero waste fashion or people that aren't necessarily feeding into that fast fashion frenzy is always good
Yeah.
for me.
Yes.
I love that
Yeah,
because like honestly, like fast fashion, like I don't know if it's still like as big as it was like back in like 20 because I feel like so many people are starting to find out their like own individual style and purchase things that they want these days. But I mean, that's who I surrounded myself in New York. But it's like it's nice to see that and it's nice to hear that because
yeah,
like honestly, I get like a headache whenever I hear about like fast fashion, but it's like not a lot of people can find their own individual style. That's why it's so like I admire you for having your own style and knowing what you want, and that's so important these
right,
days, especially in this world. But that was also another
yeah,
question I was going to ask you, but Hiccup basically did it. But fashion, I was going to say like I know how fashion week can be so overwhelming. It looks like it, and it's so high, fast paced and has like such a high emphasis on high fashion. How did you approach choosing your looks and how did your personal style fit into such a dynamic environment?
yeah. That's a really good
Mhm.
question,
Thank
and
you. Yeah.
I would definitely say that for me, it was all about choosing the subsets of like aesthetics. Like if you're on Tumblr and you're typing in hashtags, I knew that I wanted to do like clowncore, like
Mhm.
literally circus knives.
Mhm.
Um, that's one of my biggest types of fashion in the summer months. I don't know why. I just like it. It's like it, I like the whimsy. I like finding that joy. And so for me, I would try and find small designers that I could help them by giving them cool correct photos, right? Like I could take their outfits for a spin, um, in the real life circuits. I could do TikToks and whatever, I
Mhm.
could do whatever do
Yeah.
my thing. Um, and then in return, I would get to hold on to one of their outfits or I would get to wear it to an event. So it was very cyclical, like mutually beneficial, I would say.
Yeah.
So that was a big part of it. I never wanted to go and spend a lot of money on the looks. So that was a big part of the selection process is like, who do I know? Like, who do I actually, who could I know? Who can I try with? So one of my favorite small designers is her name, Megan O'Kane. And she was on that show Next in Fashion on Netflix, season two.
I watched that, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, Next in Fashion.
she
Because Next
she
in
kind of
Fashion.
got like bullied for being different, like not bullied, but she got made fun of for being different, and she essentially got bullied off the show because her looks were too overdressed, like too extreme. And
She'd be an awesome person to interview too.
well, I can help you interview her if you would like. Yeah,
Please. That'd be
and
awesome.
um, and I commented on her Instagram post saying like, "Yo, I think you should have won." And then of course, what do I see in my Instagram inbox? But like Megan O'Kane has followed you, and I'm like, of course. So, so we started chatting, and a lot of my outfits for this fashion week were hers. And like they were her creations. She didn't make them specifically for me, but we just happened to dimensionally line up, where my measurements worked with what she made. Although her stuff is very much size inclusive. Like she makes things that can work for many different body types. In the same garment too. It's very cool. You need to chat to her about that. But like she
Yes,
does really good
please.
things with sizing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, no, so I would say like an attribution to like a lot of my outfits are just thanks to like making those connections over the last year. Like with Megan, we became friends and then we started to like do little things here and there with me wearing her stuff, doing beautiful photos. We had some good videos, like good hits on Instagram and TikTok and whatever. And then that's of course when it led to like, hey, you should wear my designs for Fashion Week. Oh yeah, of course, that sounds great. Like it was a very
Mhm.
organic um way to go. And I think that's like, I don't want to speak on other influencer
Mhm.
creator people, but I feel like that's a big part of it. Fashion Week is all about like who especially when it comes to what you're wearing. It's like, do I know this designer? Can I pull something from them? It doesn't just get handed to you as much as people in the audience might think. Like a lot of it is
Mhm.
this kind of like outsourcing and making new connections to wear things and to incorporate those
Mhm.
things into the week, and it's so
Yeah.
fun. I like it. I like that part of it.
It sounds like so much fun. I definitely, that's like a goal for next year, hopefully, is to
Yes.
hopefully do that, meet more creators, write about them, get to know them. It's the best part of this whole journey so far is literally getting to know people and also hopefully one day going to Fashion Week.
And
But
I
especially
feel like
like
you have so many fashion friends also.
that's actually what I was about to say. Like I was about to pivot to that too, where it's like a lot of it is really just what you make of it. It's like the be the change you want to see in the world kind of thing with Fashion Week for me, where it's like I kind of realize that when I have other fashion friends that are off the hook, unhinged, wild, like amazingly fun outfits, I feel more like safe around those people getting
yeah.
to like go to events and like we all went to one event. It was the Sam Finger event, which is like a small designer, and it was held in a gentleman's club. Like it was intense. Like if I went by myself, I would have been like, I don't know how this would go. But I pulled up with like five of my content creator friends, and we took the most fun photos, which I can send you, like in this
Please.
gentleman's club, and they were like iconic. It was like so cool. And it just made it all the more like I felt like I was in a movie or something, like a TV show, like Skins or one of
Oh my
those
God, yes. 'Cause, uh, yeah,
um
like
for
that
the
just
sole
sounds
reason.
like so cool.
Yeah, and it's like, but stuff like that wouldn't have happened the year before because I didn't have those friends. I didn't have those that group of people. I didn't really have the access to those things, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah.
And the only reason I didn't was because I didn't reach out to people or I didn't accept those opportunities. So it's a lot of it is very like it's like the freelance fashion week is what I would call it. It's really like for the designers, they're freelancing, finding all the models, finding all the makeup artists. A lot of it's unpaid, so like they're just trying to find people that can do things. It's very like the freelance Olympics.
DIY.
Yes, very much that.
Mhm.
Also, I don't know if you can see this, but this is my friend Sarah, who's a really cool fashion creator. But this is us in the Gentlemen's Club. Do you see? I don't know if you can see the
I
outfits.
can't, it's pretty bright, but like I can see the silhouette of it and it's
We're up,
just so cool.
we're up against a pole. I don't. Maybe I can send it in the chat somehow.
Yeah, honestly, please. It's such
Wait.
a
Yeah,
like
you can
it's such a
email it
unique.
to either of us or send it
Mhm.
on Instagram.
Oh, I'll do that. Or wait,
Yes.
can I not put it in the chat here?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it could work.
Um, let me see. I'm such a noob. Oh wait, okay, I'm airdropping it. Good.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it was just like all about that. Like the experience was very like it's just fun when you have the friends to have that fun
Mhm.
with. It's almost like you're in high school again, you know? Very much fun.
It doesn't seem so scary anymore, does it? It's
No,
not like the first day of school.
exactly,
You
exactly.
made
When you
your
have,
friends
yeah,
and you're comfortable now. Now, yeah.
absolutely, yeah, yep,
Um, my next question is, I think we talked about this actually the first question, but I that was my first question for you. But so yeah, you attended New York Fashion Week, which is like a major event in the fashion world.
yeah.
Um, I think we already touched base on this, but if you want to expand, that'd be awesome. What was your experience like being part of it, and how did it influence your own style and creative process? Like, did you take
Yeah,
some stuff from like what you saw, and are you incorporating it to your looks now? Just like
for
all
sure.
of that. Yeah.
So definitely a big part of it is when I'm selecting the shows to actually go to. That's a big part of it because there
Mhm.
are so many. Obviously, there's the big designers that are harder to get to, but there's also a
Mhm.
massive wealth of like small designers that you can
Mhm.
find on their Instagram. They're doing like a really small event somewhere in the middle of Brooklyn, right? Like there's a lot to go to that's not on the calendar, the CFDA calendar, which is basically like the official like here's the things
Mhm.
that are on, and those things are
Yeah.
really hard to get into. So for me, a lot of it was like the selection process of finding small designers that actually aligned with what I like. For example, Tanner Fletcher is a good one. If you know about them, they're like two designers that are a collective and they make the most beautiful, like I don't even know how to describe it. It's very whimsical. They have a lot of gender play in their formal wear. They make suits with bows on them. They're kind of known for that. Um, in their presentation, they had Dylan Mulvaney at the end modeling, and she was beautiful. It was great. So they had so many like beautiful forms of representation. But that was an example of like, so for that event, I chose an outfit that to me matched with the aesthetic of their stuff because their stuff's all like bows and
Mhm.
um frilly bows, pinks and blues. And I actually wait, let me do this. I can share this screen because I
With
think
your
I
outfit for that show, did
yeah.
you like
If
play
can you
around
see
with
that?
gender?
Yeah. So you can see here, this is the outfit that I wore. Um,
I
and
love.
yeah, so this is like a good example. Like you can see behind there, that's like the
Mhm.
designs that they made. Very like coquette kind of vibes. So I wore this pink, and if I don't know if you can zoom in or whatever, but there's bows on the purple part.
It's so awesome to see that because like I know you say that you don't really play with a lot of color, well, like colors like really, you know,
Yeah,
are like different for you, but it's so good because even though it's so different from your personal style per se, but it's still like it's still you. It still gives
yes,
you
and
like the
yeah, that was
silhouettes and everything, like the way that is it's so nice to see that you're trying to, you know, match their aesthetic and whatever, but you still made it your own.
for sure,
And I
and
love
And
that.
that's a big
Yeah.
part of it. That it's not
Hmm.
you don't have to do that with shows, but like I
Hmm.
love to do that. Where it's like
Yeah.
if you show up to one of the shows, I'm not gonna just be like selfishly like David
Yeah.
vibes the whole time. It's gonna be like
Hmm.
David in this vessel where
Hmm.
it's like kind of giving that vibe. Um,
Yeah.
and that's a good example. That was a Megan O'Kane outfit as well. And she and I like we talked about that like in our kind of we did like a fitting kind of situation where it was like that and so I went to her place and she was like, okay, so who do you like who are you going to? and I had my list, and one of them was Tanner Fletcher because, of course, we both knew these designers. She's like, wear
Mhm.
this one. So it was like a cool, like a joint effort of like, this is perfect for the Tanner Fletcher aesthetic. So
Mhm.
it felt like I was in art class choosing colors with the designer, where we were all just like creating
Yeah.
together. Um, it was a really big, like, it was definitely a big effort, like a joint effort to be able to create those kind of looks.
And
Funnily
I
enough,
love how, sorry, go ahead.
oh no, it's the same. Now I have
Mhm.
the photo, like I have this photo. It's the same outfit, but this is also what I wore to the gentleman's club too. And it's the same outfit. But like if you
Yes,
see, like look at the context of how we are,
Wow.
like,
that's so
Wow.
different.
isn't it funny?
Wow. I
So
love that.
we were like serving. Um but it's fun, like so because of Fashion Week, like you have to kind of stay in the same outfit unless you have an outfit change. So like that was my outfit for that whole day. So I did wear that to
Mhm.
the gentleman's club. For some reason it made sense.
It made sense. I
No,
mean, it
I
looks
love
like it
how
makes
it
sense.
plays off of different environments. Like, I feel
Yeah,
like even if it's like a different style than your usual one or like different color scheme, I feel like the play on gender and androgyny and like gender non-conforming clothing, it also just like seeing it in di two different, like very contrasting environments. I love it.
for
It's so
sure.
cool.
I'm going to show you one more as an example of this might be something cool to talk about. So for the designers, I also got dressed by the designer for one or two shows that I got to go to, which is crazy. Like you only get to do that if you're one of those influencer type people, which makes me sad. Like I wish they could just dress everyone, you know? But
Mhm.
here's an example. So I got to go to this show called Milk, which is Melke. Um, and their whole thing is like gender fluid stuff. So I chose this, which is unusual for me, but I chose a suit.
Ooh.
Wow.
But see how I styled it with a frog
Wow.
leg?
Yeah. It's still so uniquely you
It
too.
is,
Like it's
yeah. And
Yeah.
so
it was definitely really cool. I can also send you all these photos too if you want to use them.
Yes,
please,
please
please. I
do.
would love
I
that.
love how that suit is like still whimsical. Like you managed to bring like whimsy and like fantasy aspects to like even a more masculine silhouette, which like
Yes.
I feel like
Mhm.
people give your like gender non-conforming aspects too much credit for creating like your unique silhouettes and your like interesting style. Like people think the fact that you're outside of like gender barriers is what makes those outfits interesting, but it's actually like your interest in unique and playful and like fantastical fashion that's like
Yeah.
almost otherworldly.
Yes, and yeah, thank you. And also, I do agree in the sense of like I love to surprise people as well as myself with a silhouette. Like for Fashion Week, you wouldn't think
Yes.
that I'm gonna wear a suit, but then it's
Hmm.
like
Mhm.
so. Another cool thing that might be cool for the article or the interview, um, the idea of getting that suit is kind of fun. So like there's a showroom where you can go, and the PR company for the designer is going to have a showroom, which basically means they're going to have a bunch of outfits by the designer that you can actually choose. So it's really fun. I wish I had like vlogged it. I really should have done like a video about it because it would have been so fun, but it was hectic. But basically I take this elevator up to this random floor in this random building in Chelsea, and then I come outside and then suddenly like the PR company knock on the door and they say, yeah, just like dress up. And I'm like, and it's all these like that suit's probably $800 of suit. Like it's crazy. Um, I know it's like crazy, crazy. But they had all these outfits, and of course that's the difficult thing is they only have a couple sizes of each thing, which is like, oh, still got to work on that with the fashion world. But either way, so the showroom has like lots of options, and the suit was what I saw. I was like, that suit, even though they had a sunflower dress, like a dress with all these sunflowers on it, like they had stuff that like you would automatically assume, oh, David's gonna go for that. But that suit, I don't know. I tried it on and I was like, that's the what? Like that's what I'm going for
So,
today. And that's the cool part about Fashion Week too. If you get really in with the companies and the PR teams, they can invite you to the showroom to like pull an outfit, so you're not even necessarily need to worry about every single outfit of the week because you can pull them. So that was one of the ones that I pulled um, from the designer, which is a big part of it. Like hopefully next time I'll get to do that even more.
uh, it sounds like such a great process too. Just doing
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
but it's very. like a very small
Mhm.
percentage of people get dressed by the
Mhm.
designer that are just going as content creators. I feel like it's
Mhm.
mostly like celebrity, like
Oh yeah.
it's
Mhm.
like if you think of it like the front row might get dressed and then anyone else doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks. But it's like
I know.
it's good to like look for your own too, and then that just makes it even more individual. I feel
Right.
like. Yeah.
Exactly. Here's one more.
Yeah.
Well, we
Yeah.
can still talk, but I'm gonna show you.
Yes, please.
I wore this to an
Oh my
event
goodness.
today.
I love
And
that.
this is my normal aesthetic. Like this is what people
Yeah.
would expect to see me in.
Mhm.
So
Um,
darling.
yeah, the flower hat, the Victorian boots, the Victorian dress, the cameo, um, which is kind of cool. That's just an example,
Mhm.
just to kind of so
Yeah.
you can see like that's what I wear just on the weekends. Which is still eccentric and still extreme, but
Yeah.
to me that's more like hey, to me like that's just me normally.
That's like a normal day for you.
Yeah,
I
no,
love how you build up your own like you have such a specific style that you like build
Mhm.
up these own like fashion barriers and confinements for yourself
Mhm.
and then you break them down. Like I
yeah,
don't know, most people do not have that much awareness of their own
Mhm.
like personal style. I feel like
Mhm.
you're that's like your strong suit.
yeah. I mean, admittedly, for me, what I'm trying to work on in my life is to make more casual wear. Like this is my attempt. Like it's like stars and stripes. It's still cute. It's still silly and fun, but it's very casual. Like it feels like I'm wearing pajamas. You know, like I try my hardest to find casual outfits that still make me feel like whimsical. That's not
Mhm.
easy. That's hard.
hmm I feel
Mhm.
like your clown core, like circus core, like kind of like adult play clothes and
Mhm.
these like
Yes.
sort of interesting patterns and smocks and ruffles that are still like movable is
Yes.
like so interesting. I feel like your outfit for this interview is perfect for that.
I think it works. Yeah. And like anything that I have like vintage clown suits that I wear and they do feel like pajamas. And those are fun to wear to the coffee shop because then they're just like chill, but they're also very whimsical, you know?
Yeah. Do you
Aside
think
from
that
the
like
interview,
there you go ahead.
oh, sorry, Jamina, one
No, no,
second.
don't
I
worry.
think aside
Yeah.
from the interview, you would be the perfect subject for like a Perriot Picasso like clown style photo shoot. But go ahead, Jam Jam.
Yes.
Oh no, yeah, I was just gonna say, like, do you ever get any trouble like with the weather? Like I know for here it rains a lot in winter. Like how do you, and even like the hot weather in the summer, like how do you find any difficulties like
There's
finding what to
uh,
wear?
there's
Yeah.
almost a meme with like Fashion Week where it's
Mm,
either going to be horrifically cold and rainy or it's going to be terribly hot because it happens in February and September.
hmm
So it's like literally like the
Yeah.
worst timing. Like currently, some of my friends are in
Mm.
Paris Fashion Week, and on their close friends story, they're posting like them with an umbrella, being like, "Well, this sucks,"
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
but not on the grid. They're not like that sucks, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we just have to. I feel like a lot of it is kind of just pretending that the weather doesn't impact us. Like in that
hmm
picture of me with that crazy outfit, I was sweating like very
Yeah.
much, and so like the elements almost have to play secondary, which is really sad. But
hmm
we just can't let them define the look. You know, like we just have to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sadly, we just have to kind of keep going. But yes, the weather does impact it, but I think most people just pretend it doesn't exist. Like they're just gonna wear the fall
So
winter
fair.
stuff in the summer.
That's so fair.
I know it's so funny
Um,
that that's like the thing, but
no, yeah, I was always curious about that too. I was like the weather is just like it's such a big, I feel like a
I
big
know.
aspect to like what I wear sometimes. I'm like, I
Yes,
wonder how it'd be like for Fashion Week, but I feel like you could just like fake it till
we
you
just
make it type of thing.
attempt to ignore it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just
A lot of the
ignore it.
fashion people they'll have a clear umbrella. That's the fashion
Yeah.
hack because they want to get their best photos on the street.
hmm
I think they don't want the umbrella to impede on any of their outfits, so they have a
Yeah.
clear umbrella. I've seen that many times,
Yeah, and it's
which
just
is
like I feel like it'd be hard as well, like photographer, you like Hiccup, like even trying to find like the good lighting and everything with the
oh
weather being so like bad. I don't know. I just
yes.
can't
Yeah,
imagine.
I'm
It's
worried about February with the overcast skies, but I think the clear umbrella is a good chance to mention. We also have a sister magazine publication that's running in Japan because clear
Mhm.
umbrellas are really popular in Japan, so
Mhm.
that's what
Yeah,
made me think of it. So this article will be published in Puck Magazine, but it also might be published in Ringo Magazine. Would you be okay with that?
of
It's
course.
published digitally for New York and Japan.
So fun. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
doing like editorial moments for sure. It's always fun. And are you planning
Yeah,
to do more photos with like for other this article, or are we just using the ones that we did already? Or are you
I
planning
was
to
gonna use the ones that we did on our photo shoot, and I was gonna give you the beret photos, but I'm thinking if we include any of the parts of this interview that are sort of about leaning into like fantasy and clowncore and like kind of a more circusy
yeah.
aesthetic, we might include some of the like clown beret photos that we might do
Yes.
also.
mhm.
Yeah. So we'll
This
just see.
this sounds like such a weird tangent, but stick with me for a second. Do you know by chance on TikTok the girl that did the apple dance, like the Charlie
Yes.
Yes,
apple dance?
yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I am actually friends with her, first and
I
foremost.
love that.
But here's like a gag I'm gonna show you. So me and her actually met up once, and we did a clowncore photo shoot. Like I styled it. Wait, I'm gonna show you this. This is like
Yeah.
face crackable, to be honest.
That's,
It's funny now because now she's like really well known as like the Apple Girl,
I mean,
but
I saw her on my TikTok too, my For
I
You
just know
page.
this was
Like,
me. So me and her doing clowncore.
oh
It's
my gosh.
stunning.
So I took that myself. I took that with my 50 millimeter lens, my little tripod. Like
Yes. I was
there,
just gonna ask you who the photographer was, and it's you.
and we just went to her place and we found like a little rooftop and we stood on the bench and like we did this moment. That's so fun. Just for like
It's
clowncore,
so
like
good.
I love that. Like the outfits are slaying.
Yes,
That
yes.
is
They're
so
so
good.
cool.
It's
Oh
so
my
good. But like
gosh.
that's just so funny that like now she's like famous essentially, like for
Yeah.
example.
No, she
But I just
really is. I mean, I saw her like literally on my For You page just like yesterday, and I saw she
she's
was doing the apple dance in the concert, and then some person was like interrupting her moment, and I was like,
I
that
saw
I would,
Yeah, that was
I'd be so
crazy.
mad. Like that was
I
her
know.
moment. This person's like coming in and like,
I
poor
know.
girl.
I'm also friends with the other girl that does the Apple dance, Nadia.
Nadia?
Do you know her?
No way. She's from
Really?
Canada. She's from
She and I are
Nadia's like,
mutuals too.
oh my
Um,
goodness. She's so
We should
cool.
totally do something like a photo shoot with all three of you because I feel like that would be so cool.
I know. I've
Yeah.
never met Nadia. Nadia, we're just mutuals on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Which she's amazing. Like she's iconic. Like she's
I
so
know.
Wait,
I
what's the
love her.
name of your friend that does the apple dance?
Kelly Hayer. It's KELLEYHEYER. And I'm
Okay,
like,
awesome.
yeah, I would say I'm friends with her, but not in the sense of like besties, like hanging out all the time.
Mm.
We met up
Hmm.
twice to do some cool like content. But
Yeah.
fun fact, she used to be like clowncore. Like if you go like down her feed, the
Hmm.
lore, you know, you'll find like she was doing clowncore for sure. And like obviously I do that too. So like we obviously followed each other really early on. And
Hmm.
now like both of us I guess are doing well, but like she definitely started blowing up after the Apple dance, which
Mhm.
is
Hmm.
really, really cool. But if you go down her feed, you'll find the clowncore stuff, unless she deleted it. But yeah.
No, that would be so cool though to do like an interview on her past in clowncore and or something like that. And I feel like you guys would look so good as like subjects together.
Oh yeah,
Just based off of like because you got that one shot and it's so stunning. Like I don't know how
yeah,
you did that in one shot. That's so cool.
it was really fun. We did take some videos too. Like they're still on, I think, both of our TikToks, like way far down. She's also
Hmm.
like the sweetest person ever. She's so nice, and she lives in New York.
Yeah,
Um,
that would be awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that she would be down. I'm not sure. I haven't like hung out with her in a minute, but
Yeah.
and weirdly, I didn't see her during Fashion Week as much. Like I only saw her from far away, like at one moment. Um,
Hmm.
that's
But
funny
it
though.
would
I
be
bet,
kind of cool to
yeah,
rekindle, maybe work it out on the remix.
yeah, that's so funny. I bet some of your like the people you want to meet and chat to. I bet I know some of them, like some of the fashion.
Yeah.
Like that's so funny.
I know.
Um,
Yeah, because
I'd
I'm
love for
going
you to
there.
become like a
Yeah.
pillar of Puck Magazine if you're like interested. We'd
yeah, I can
totally
help you.
love for you to become like a regular around here.
I can definitely help you to like connect with people for sure. I'm not a gatekeeper, so
I love that. Thank you. Because like I'm here. It's so hard for me because I'm here in Vancouver, so it's hard for me to network. But like I'm planning on moving to New York next year after I graduate because I'm just trying to finish my degree and then getting out of here and then go to New
Yeah.
York. But I'm gonna be there in December for 2 weeks, just purely business networking and doing all that sorts of stuff and making connections and hopefully
Yeah.
getting more interviews. So yeah, I'm
Do
gonna
you
be there December.
do you know any content creators in Vancouver? Because I feel like I
Um,
know a couple.
not I mean,
Or are
who
they
do you know? And then maybe I'll know them.
is Sarah Campos Sarconi not from there?
No, I don't
Sarah
think so.
Campos. Oh, I thought she was.
No,
Was
I
she?
don't
And then
know.
do you know a girl called Kiersey?
Hearsay? I have no
She's from
idea.
Canada.
I don't know. Like the only people that I would
It's not gonna how do
I have no idea. I'm one of my main persons I want to get from Vancouver, this girl named Paloma Sandoval. I don't know if you ever heard of her, but she's Sabrina Carpenter's best friend.
Oh,
So I'm like, that's like, I mean, it's pretty far. I mean, she works like I have mutuals with her, but like that's one person I know she's touring with her right now. But
that's
if you
so
know
cool.
her,
I don't
get me
so
connected.
I
But
know a
yeah,
lot the cottagecore girlies. I know
mhm.
almost all of them for sure. Like
Oh,
I
wow.
love those people. Let me show you this girl. How do I share my okay, share and then okay. This girl I believe is in Canada.
Oh, Kirsten. I've never
Yes.
seen her before. She's
Have you
from
seen her?
Calgary.
Oh, is that not
Yeah.
nearby? I'm like
No,
geographically
it's a little bit like further down, but yeah, I see like the YYC and she's
It's
from
still
Calgary.
Canada though,
It's
right?
still Canada.
Yeah.
It's still Canada. It's actually close
She is
by.
so
Yes.
Like,
nice.
yeah,
I
she's
love her so
cool.
much. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
so cool. And she's like very she's one of those content creators where like she doesn't have like a massive following,
Mhm.
but her videos are worthy of massive following. So it's like she's
Yeah.
Hmm.
gonna blow up very soon, you know. I
Hmm.
love it. I love
It's
it.
it's it sucks because sometimes like you see the coolest people and it's like if you were just in the right environment, the right place, like
No.
you can
Well,
that's the
the
thing.
good
It's
thing
like,
about like
yeah.
both of us being in New Jersey is that if like you become like part of Puck Magazine and like really involved, I can also become really involved in your brand and I can just be like your personal photographer that's only a 50-minute drive away and I can come to
Yeah.
Asbury. It's Asbury Park, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
can
great
come
for
to Asbury Park whenever you need. Like,
photo
I just
stuff.
think that it could be a perfect collaborative relationship.
For real, I have tons of like in New York, especially during Fashion Week, it's like a really cool the photographer um life is really interesting because I don't really do so much of my photography when I'm in New York. Like I'm
Hmm.
really lucky where I have a lot of photographer friends that are like doing the Fashion Week thing where they're waiting outside venues to photograph. Like they're literally waiting to see
Hmm.
style, which I'm assuming is what you'll probably be doing. You know, you just kind of wait outside
Hmm.
Yeah.
and get people as you can. But I try and make friends with some of those people that are as talented as they come, and then they want to
Hmm.
shoot because they get the portfolio and I get the photos,
Yeah.
which is awesome. And it's like again, it's such a again with the fashion week thing, it's like the freelance thing where everyone just like if you want that kind of thing, you can just kind of put yourself out there, and it's quite easy to
Hmm.
access if you're a
Yeah,
photographer.
that's how we met because
It
you
is.
were like
You
very
literally just
open. Yeah.
DM'd me. Yeah, like you literally just DM me. And like I do check my DMs like every night. And admittedly there's many that I do ignore, but like there's
Hmm.
if it seems like someone that just like your profile, you were just like, hey, I just want to shoot. I was like, okay, like and it just so happened that I was gonna do the shoot the day after, which with Persephone.
Hmm.
And so that's a really this is a really good case study even of like when you just kind of reach out and do it, like it does
Hmm.
work. And like obviously you have
Yeah.
to put your trust very fast into other creator people,
Mhm.
but it's
Hmm. You
you
have
can
to put
tell.
yourself out there. Yeah.
Yeah, you can
Mhm.
tell as
I
long as your
always tell
profile
people
is
that.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one
And
thing that
for
I'm
I
me,
like
feel like
telling
you're good
people.
at that with your content creating. Like you're good at
Hmm.
putting yourself and your image out there. And like I feel like that's a great way to bring people to your music as well, is because they just see you putting yourself out there, being like unashamed and unabashedly yourself. And
Hmm.
they're like that draws people into what you do and makes them like interested.
yeah, I try and put my music out there in my social media like once a month. It's almost like systems, like I have it down to like a thing where it's
Hmm.
like to remind people, hey guys, I do music or I do sing opera or I do play piano, whatever. And then I post a video and it sometimes does well. Sometimes it flops, but ultimately it doesn't matter because I'm just
Yeah.
reminding people that it's
Hmm.
part of the journey and it's not like to be
Hmm.
shaved off or sacrificed. A lot of
Exactly.
my friends that do music, like in this town, they wish that they had social media presence, you know. So it's funny how
Mhm.
like sometimes chatting with them, they're like, just put music out there, and I'm like, yeah, but it's scary when you have like a lot of people watching. It's like scary to put it
Yeah.
out. So it's like some people wish they could be flipped, right? It's like when
Hmm.
you have
Right.
social presence, it's detrimental sometimes when you're a creative because you want to put more out there, but you're scared because of judgment. Like the judgment
Yeah.
comes a lot more, which is
And
interesting.
I
that's
relate
that's
to
so
that.
tough.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's like,
I don't get too bothered, thankfully, but a lot of
yeah,
other people get really insecure about it. For me, I'm just like,
Mhm.
no, I love the fact that I can play,
I
that I can
know.
share.
Yeah, that's like one thing that my friend that our friend actually Ellie that I interviewed earlier this or last month, she was saying how you'll always have an audience, whether good or bad. You just have to do it your way.
Mhm.
If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. It's just you'll always have an
Yeah,
audience. There's always someone watching. But
especially when it comes
yes.
to, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, fashion, especially like
Mhm.
no one's gonna love all of my outfits. Everyone's
Exactly.
gonna have something to say all the time. So you might as well just wear something for yourself and not for
Exactly.
others. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And that also stems a lot from like insecurity and just they're so scared to, show off their own personal style because why do they consume so much time judging other people,
Absolutely.
when they could like,
Yeah.
take a reflection. It's that's how I think about it. It's just like as long as you stay authentic to yourself, you're
For
doing way
sure.
more than they can do. And so that's
Yeah,
why
and
you're
that's
doing such amazing things. Like I love it. I love it. Thank
It's
you.
all just about
Yeah.
like whatever you yeah, it's all
Mhm.
whatever you want to put out to the world, that's what you
Mhm.
should do. You know, like whatever your
Exactly.
imagination tells you. Like for me with my outfits and my like content even,
Mhm.
it's all just like whatever happens, happens. You know, it's not like
Exactly.
premeditated or like I'm gonna do this
Mhm.
thing because this thing works, this thing doesn't work. It's like
Mhm.
no, it's like life. You know, it's like taking
Yeah,
it.
Mhm.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like posting
that's
your
the beauty of it.
passions as well, like publishing and posting your passions also it just like sets you apart as like someone who's like vulnerable and real. And I feel like you're like kind of the mascot for that right now for us, for Puck
yeah.
Magazine.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome. I also think
yeah.
that like it doesn't matter if something does well or doesn't do well in terms of
Mhm.
metrics. Like that's the number one thing to like
Mhm.
remember because I go through that all the time. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh no, my post flopped, and it's like it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
it really doesn't matter. Like if you have one or two viral moments, then that helps everything.
Mhm.
You know, all the other
Mhm.
things that were flops don't become flops anymore. You know,
Yeah,
Exactly.
they
like
just become steps on the ladder.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
No, I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah,
Yeah. So I'm gonna touch base back to New York Fashion Week, and I just have one last question about it, and then
yeah.
yeah. So did attending New York Fashion Week provide any new insights into the fashion industry for you? I know you've been there 3 times, but anything new like this year that surprised you, or either creatively or in terms of networking with other professionals?
Yeah, I would like to obviously keep it positive, but there's one
Mhm.
negative that I learned is that there still needs to be so much more like size diversity on the runway. Like I don't know what's happened, but we've taken a step back. Like
Yeah, I
literally a
God.
step.
agree.
It's like a large step back. And I don't know why designers think it's okay to just put one like
Mhm.
slightly plus size. I would say mid size is a good word for it. Like they'll put like one mid size person on the runway and then call it a day. And I'm like, what? Like, what is going on here? Um, so that's something that I hope will change. And I
Mhm.
don't think there's any excuse, like to be honest. Like I'm not a fashion designer, but I don't think
Mhm.
there's an excuse to not have representation on your runway or at your presentation or who you invite is like a big part of it too, right? Like we always say that people makes the place. So
Mhm.
why is your place just skinny white people? Like you like
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
so
so
true.
even down
Yeah,
to
the
like
runway really needs more diversity in
Mhm.
sizes, in mobility, in
yeah.
almost every way.
And there is, of
Yeah.
course, like in the same breath, there are some designers that are going hard to show diversity, which like that should be obviously what I would focus on more. For example, the menswear designer that I model for, his name is Sivan, Sivan. He does
Mhm.
menswear tailoring, but he had me in a dress. He had a plus size person right next to me.
Mhm.
He had people of all shapes, sizes, colors,
Mhm.
genders, ages. He had like an
Mhm.
older ish lady. And it was cool. Like it was you walk into the presentation and you see the interest, you see all forms of like menswear. Like you see all kinds. And you see the women can wear menswear. You see, in one
Yeah.
you can just look at and then you see it all displayed beautifully in all sizes. So that was like I was excited to be a part of that because I was part of that diversity push with gender and
Mhm.
showing that menswear can simply just be menswear silhouette, but anyone can wear the menswear silhouette. You don't have to be a man to wear menswear. And the
Yeah.
same with women's wear. You can, it's it's
Yeah,
fabric.
it's that's
Yeah,
true. That's so
yeah,
true.
yeah. But that was
Hmm.
the coolest part about for me, like the eye opening is like I'm excited that I'm part of this
Hmm.
movement into pushing
Hmm.
for it. And to get to do my first runway was crazy. Like get to show power and presence in a way of movement rather than just presentation, which is like staying still.
Hmm.
Um, that was a big eye-opening thing for me because I
Hmm.
didn't realize I could do that. So it kind of ignited a fire under my ass where it's like, oh, maybe I should be doing more modeling. Like I don't consider myself a traditionally attractive like model type, but I would say I'm like quirky and like I can give the vibes and the
Hmm.
confidence, which I think is what a model. I think that's the number one thing. I don't think it's skinny waist and amazing skin. I think it's like if you can slay, like
Yeah.
Yes.
then you belong like you're in this space. Or if you can sell the garment, if you can sell the story.
I
Hmm.
also don't even know that modeling is so much about like conventionally attractiveness. Cause like I feel like if you didn't have your personal style, like someone could totally market you off as like a typical Scottish, like
Yes.
masculine presenting model. But I think that like this rise of like unique models and it's
Yeah.
more how you posturize yourself. Like it's less
Yeah.
about your physical features anymore. And it's more about if you can serve that like energy and vibe and bring it to the runway, which I
Yeah.
think you can. So I think you should get
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
into it.
It's
And I
I
think
think it's
that's
the confidence too.
the
Yeah.
confidence
Hmm.
and the
Hmm.
energy. Yeah. But that, I
Yeah.
guess that's something I kind of learned because I would never have thought that the runway would be for me. Like I just thought I would always be like the one creating content or maybe taking pictures of the runway or maybe at most wearing the clothes that the people on the runway
Hmm.
are wearing and getting to take it into my own world. I didn't think that I could be part of the world. It's like the Little
Hmm.
Mermaid, but like it's just like hearing it at the runway. Yeah, no, I didn't think I could be part of that world, like being on the runway. But that was
You're used
cool.
to
That was
being behind the camera.
yeah. And like I'm used to being my own like direction. Whereas the runway, it's like they'll give you the narrative, they'll give you the story of the clothing and like where it comes from and what its purpose is and how to walk and how to not
Mhm.
exactly how to walk, but like how there's direction on like what you
Hmm.
should do at a runway. And I learned all of that in like 2 hours. And I
Wow.
and I did well. I
Wow.
did it all, which is great.
I would love to see if you have like any videos or anything, I would love to watch that
I
too.
did.
Sure.
I did.
I would love to
Uh,
send it. Yeah. I would love to watch it.
I wonder if this
Yeah.
even would work if I share my screen.
Yeah. Yeah. Try see it.
That's me in my little runway.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll let it live so you
that
can see. It's like this thing here. There's me.
oh my gosh.
Kind of slaying, honestly.
It's not
It's
even kind
so
of, it's major
good.
slay. It's
Kind of
major slay. I
slaying.
Yes.
love it. I love that.
I'm glad I
That's
was
the
wearing
thing.
like something that I would wear too. Like
Hmm.
Hmm.
that's the thing. That's the overarching thing that I would like people to know about with Fashion Week is definitely it's like there is everyone is welcome. And it's just about putting yourself into the space because no one's gonna ask you to. It's like for content creators and whatnot, you have to just put yourself into this. Also, not content creators, just like anyone, a
Hmm.
photographer, a musician, anyone. If you want to be part of those spaces, you can be. You just have to find those ways to put yourself into those rooms and
I
into
think
those.
also what helps you with your modeling is that you're already comfortable and used to being in these like beautifully eccentric clothing wear, and you're used to like pieces that don't have as much functionality as they have like form and shape and silhouette and sculpture. So
For
I think the
sure.
fact that you're like most like the average person is not used to slaying that hard, but you
Hmm.
slay like daily. So I feel like
Right.
that gets you like you're used to it, like you're used to serving.
Yeah. It's used to serving and like I love taking photos of myself, which sounds so like whatever, but like I know
Me
it's
too.
just like yeah, like I love taking like
Yeah.
self-portraits and going out with my camera into the woods and like taking pictures. So Fashion Week is like that, but it's less whimsical because you're in the middle of the city. So it's like there's not like the woods nearby. But the fun
Hmm.
thing for me is like still taking that city vibe, like the Fashion
Hmm.
Week thing, but putting
Yeah.
myself into it, like where the
Yeah.
outfit's still like very much me looking like a crazy clown cottage witch type situation.
Exactly.
And it's like that's the whole point. It's like everyone belongs, even people like me
Yeah.
that I might not necessarily think that you would ever see my social media veering towards being a fashion week, but like there I go. Like
Hmm.
Yes.
it's a cool testament to like if you think you can do it and if you want to do it, you can and you should, I think is like
Hmm.
a good statement that I would kind of put forward in that
Yeah.
sense.
But your
That's awesome.
style has so much like visual interest. I feel like it translates really well to like a fashion week or a high fashion like editorial space.
Yeah, and I'm always trying to support the small designers, slow
Hmm.
fashion, sustainable fashion, and it's cool to see that even though there's a lot of fashion week that's just like Hermes and like big designers, I don't go
Hmm.
to those. I don't even get considered for those. I don't pitch myself for those. But the small designers is where it's at for me. Like getting to
Hmm.
support the undercurrent and the future
Hmm.
and the pieces that don't cost $9,000. Like getting just
Right.
getting to the things that are actually more fun to me
Hmm.
is like that's what Fashion Week is for.
I
I
think
agree.
supporting emerging designers is also just like more sustainable in the
Right.
long run. It's just like better for people and for the environment and just for like the art culture in general.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's so
because
much more
so
accessible
true.
too. Like for me to
Hmm.
slide into Persephone's DMs, actually the other way around, but like whatever. Like for us to chat and then
Hmm.
just turn something out is so much easier than
Hmm.
me emailing Damson Matter or like one of these big companies
Hmm.
because they're not going to reply to me. They're going to be like, "Who is this?" I mean, they might,
Hmm.
but like,
Hmm.
it's a slimmer chance of collaboration. Um,
Hmm.
whereas finding someone that you resonate with that you just know, like Persephone's clothes, it's just like obviously that's gonna work. Like it's like
Yeah.
that's an obvious one. And it's more fun, it's more human, right? Like it's yeah,
Hmm.
it's not as like
It's just more
superficial or like
organic. Yeah.
yeah, which
Yeah.
is what I prefer. And I'm glad that
Hmm.
people noticed that. Like I'm glad you reached out to me to photograph me
Hmm.
because there's a lot of people that are like too nervous because they're just like, no, I don't
Yeah.
want to.
Hmm.
And I'm like, no, like I do check my DMs. Like I do want to photograph people. I do want to be,
Hmm.
I do want to create things. I think some people get scared that I'm just gonna ignore them, and I'm like, no, that's not the case.
Yeah, you're also very open to like helping other artists and creators too. I feel like people expect it to be like a teeth
Yeah,
gnashing, everyone for themselves kind of world, but
right,
I think it's important to build creative community because it takes a village doesn't stop after you're a baby. Like everyone needs a village and a community
for
to like
sure.
communicate with and create with. I think
Yeah.
that's so important.
And it's like behind the scenes too, like almost all these content creators that make full-time income, they have massive teams of people. I don't, but they do have an agent that does all of their liaisons to get them to their events. They have a stylist that makes all the outfit calls for them and goes everything. They have assistants. I'm not judging those people necessarily.
Hmm.
It's more just like a fact of like some of my friends even I'll be like, oh, we should take a picture. They'll be like, my photographer will take it. And I'm like, you have like,
Hmm.
they have someone that follows them around and take, and it's like, and I'm like, okay, like pop off. But like
Yeah.
also, I couldn't do that because I like to do my own photography for the most part. So like,
Hmm.
it's everyone is their own. So like for me,
Yeah.
I love to make more connections and friends and community because to me that is my team, right? Like that's what I want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the money to support like have an agent and I do have an agency that I'm part of, but they don't do anything apart from like brand partnership contracts. So that's the only
Right.
thing. They don't do outreach for me. I do all that myself.
I feel like that what sets you apart from those other creators too is you have like the talent to back yourself up. Like you are a
Hmm.
photographer and a
Right.
musician and you can really like produce your own
Yeah.
like media.
Yeah, and I
Hmm.
feel like that's why I always tell people like I'm so lucky that I have social media presence because I didn't ever have that before. So like I was always a photographer. Like I should show you my Instagram like before like the archive. Like I took all my own photos. I go like to crazy photo shoots and like do all these things, and no one saw them. Like, but I would still
Hmm.
post every single day, just like all these crazy. I used to do those silly borders on Instagram with like the white border
Oh
down
my
the
God, I
middle.
remember that phase.
Yeah, like that was. But
Yeah.
I was like, I was going hard. I was doing as much as I could to possibly like just have a cool Instagram. That was like part of my
Yeah.
thing.
I
And
love that.
yeah, and now it's like I have a cool Instagram, but like 200 and whatever people follow it. And it's like
Yeah.
I try to not let that change anything. But you see what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it's I've always
Yeah.
been a photographer and
Yes.
always been a musician. So I'm lucky, as you said, I'm just lucky that I can do those things because it's not something that a lot of people can do, I
Yeah.
guess.
Hmm.
Hmm. I'm
I
very glad
relate
I'm
to that
making
too.
more
I
money with
have
it.
editorials on my Instagram with like 12 likes.
But the fact that you
Yeah.
did an editorial with so many different people is like commendable, like
Mhm.
that's the thing.
And I
What were
see
you
it
gonna
like
say,
that.
Jam Jam?
Oh no, I just see that as like a public, I say public portfolio. Like honestly, no matter the
Yeah.
likes,
Mhm.
it visually looks good, and the right people will see it and they'll be like, "This is great." They don't.
And
I
that
don't
was
think
like,
they care for
yeah,
the likes, yeah, and
yep. The
everything.
reason that we shot was not anything to do with
Mhm.
social media. Obviously, it was
Yeah,
everything to do
yeah,
with your photos. And I was like, yo, these are
mhm.
cool. Like, like
Yeah,
obviously I've worked a
Yeah.
lot
exactly.
on person. Yeah.
Yeah. And no, yeah, I was gonna say too, like I actually took a look at David Russ on Took This.
Oh,
Your little photography account. I did my research on it the other day, and I was like, I have a couple
I'm
questions
trying
for
so
myself
hard on there.
too.
I'm really trying. Like, it's
No, I
hard.
love it. It's
It's hard to
yeah.
grow a photography account. I'm like, this is hard.
I
Like,
know. I just revised and revamped, or not revamped, but um I just logged back onto my photography account that I started when I was in high school, and I was like, oh my God, I want to like make such a cool like creative account where Hiccup can post
yeah,
his photos that he doesn't want to post it, doesn't match his aesthetic on his account, and just like make something for like another creative account where people could
Like
see like
just an
photographies
outlet.
and everything, an
yeah, like a
outlet, just an
portfolio.
outlet, because
Yeah.
it's so freeing, I think. But yeah, I was
Hmm.
gonna ask you questions about being a photographer. I have one called or that says like, as a photographer, how do you view fashion through the lens? Does
Oh,
being behind the camera change your perspectives and how you present yourself in front of it, especially with your fashion content?
for sure. I mean, the number
Yeah.
one thing is like, and I'm sure Hiccup can like kind of attest to this, but like
Mm-hmm.
I feel very comfortable with posing, and I feel like a big part of that modeling posing wise, when I'm photographing, I'm always directing the person, like always,
Mm-hmm.
because I just at the same, it's like you just kind of know what looks. So like when I'm modeling, I can obviously I love to take the direction too. And then at the same token, I can just have a photographer take and I'll just move around. Like I'm just
Mm-hmm.
vibing, which a lot of people that are not photographers, they might not feel comfortable like doing, like the
Mm-hmm.
motions
Hmm.
and stuff and the
Yeah.
direction. So that's a big part of it. My photos are very specific, which I think is a good thing, but sometimes it does me a disservice and making money doing photography because it is very specific. So I do like cottagecore photography, like very desaturated. There's a certain tone curve that I like on Lightroom. Like I make my own preset. I love to do it. It's like it's a consistency thing. And I don't know, it just makes me feel safe and happy. And I don't know whether that's like a thing, but like I don't know. I like to show the world how I see it in my brain. So very like
Hmm.
folkloric, storyboard, like very sad fall all the time, even in the summer. And I want it to look like fall. Um, and there's certain colors that I veer towards, like the earth tone, the mossy greens. I don't like the color blue in photos, so I wash it out. Like all these things, just that's how I like to photograph and how I like to show things. So when I'm doing stuff for brands or musicians or portraiture, the cool thing is when people hire me, they know that they're going to get like the David vibe, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of fun. And you'd be surprised by how many brands and businesses will want that kind of vibe, which is so cool. Like the holistic health spas love it in my
Mm-hmm.
town. I photograph for a lot of those. Um, I have a couple people that I just do social media for, and I keep to the David vibe, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also shoot live music. I love doing concert photography. That's like a big, there's never any money in it, but like it's one of my passions for sure. Like I love to get the photo pass and be at the front and you get to photograph for the first three songs and like shooting some of your favorite musicians is so fun. Like you're like literally a foot away from them. And
Hmm.
for me, selfishly, because I'm a musician, there's that double thing where it's like I'm photographing them, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, I also did their music on the piano And maybe I can meet them later and say, hey, by the way, I did your music on the piano on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out. And that happens a lot. Like
Wow.
networking, the best. It's the best.
Can you share who you or who you gained
Yes,
some work for?
I photographed Youngblood. He's kind of big, I
Oh,
guess.
yeah,
Um,
he's yeah, Jesse J Stark. I don't know if they're
yeah,
still dating. But yeah, I
all the fan
love.
pages posted my photos.
Mhm.
I photographed the Struts recently. They were quite good. The Aces. Who do I have tonight? I'm shooting the Beaches tonight. They're like an indie band.
Oh,
Um,
Oh,
there's
I love
tons.
their music.
I have a whole like on my mute on my Dave Roslan took this. I have a couple of reels that did well, and it just shows like all of the different musicians that I photographed. Um, and it's fun. I'm glad that I've developed a decent platform for concert photography. I don't know how I managed to land that. I kind of just kept going to concerts, and then soon enough, the music publications wanted me to shoot for them, which is great because they help
wow.
with the yeah they really help with that. Um, but as I said,
Mhm.
it's not a money. It's there's never money in it. So like I only shoot here, like in Asbury Park, when a band comes to tour here. I literally can walk to the venue. I'm not going to take a train. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want to spend money to do something that you think you should get paid for. Obviously, right? Like it sucks. Photography sometimes it's like some things you get paid for and some things you simply just do not, and that's okay. You know, you just have
Yeah.
to.
Mhm.
But concert photography is like there's no it's just cool photos, a good portfolio, which I'm happy
Mhm.
for.
Yeah.
I
It's
feel
giving
like
more
you
reach as
being a
well.
photographer. Oh, sorry, Jim. What'd you
Oh no,
say?
no, go ahead. No, I just said I think it's a good reach as well. Like just like yeah,
Yeah,
hitting
for
goals.
sure.
No matter the like monetary like
Yeah, it's like you do it for the fame.
aspects of it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
I feel like you being a photographer helps you have like a mental image before you create something, like even for your own modeling or poses, or when you're making something for another company in your cottagecore style. Like I feel like you have this mental image of how you want
yeah,
it to turn out. So it
yeah,
just like I feel like it adds layers like to everything you make that you have these like different perspectives and angles that you come from.
for sure. And when you and I did the photos, that's a really good example too, because it was very organic. Like we did some photos where there was smiling, we did some like fun ones, silly ones, but we did it all in like 20-minute increments of like just here's and it was so easy because of that. Like
Hmm.
we both just did our thing. And I think that's being a photographer for me helps me to like get into doing the thing much quicker than maybe some
Hmm.
other clients or models that you might have where it's like it takes them a minute to like get into it. For me, I'm just like, no, I'm like, what lens are you using? Okay, good. Like, let's go. Like, full length. Okay, great. You know, and it's so fun. Like, I think it's freeing. I love doing photos. Yes. Do you ever do self portraits, or is that like,
I used to when I didn't have access to models, and it really helped me like understand posing and what like kind of looks I want. And now it helps me where I'll be, especially if I'm in a studio photographing, I'll have my model with me and I can kind of like act out the poses
yeah,
that I want them to do, and then they can visually emulate
yeah,
that. So I think self-portraiture is such a good tool for
yes.
learning your angles, learning your poses, but also just learning like to be comfortable posturizing yourself in front of a camera.
For sure. It's one of my favorite things to do. Like that's like I just love self-portraiture. It brings me so much joy. And being able to do that for a brand is like the ultimate power move because then you can charge the clothing brand as a photographer and as the creator, and then you get more money.
Yes,
We love,
artist fee
Love
and
yeah,
that.
creator
yes.
fee.
Because they'll be like, "Who's the
We
photographer?"
love
I'm like,
that.
"Me."
You
Like it's me. Sometimes people do ask me, they're like, "Who shoots your content?" I'm like, "I shoot it myself." You know, it's like such a fun flex.
It's a
Um,
strength for sure.
yeah, it is fun. It is fun. It does sometimes have a hiccup for me though, like where I'm like a little hiccup, but it sometimes does create a little bit of a thing for me where like if a brand wants me to post something and I'm like, ooh, like I need to make sure that the cover photo is still my vibe, and they'll be like, okay, but your color palette is too demure for our grid. And I'm like, well, then we're gonna have to talk about that because I don't. So I always have to come in with making sure that people know I even actually I sent Hiccup a voice note being like, the photos are amazing. I just can't post them on my grid because of how colorful they are. And it's
Yeah.
nothing to do with it's everything to do with just my stupid color palette. Like it's like it
I mean,
sometimes
that's the
does
No,
same
make
it's
with
it.
not
yeah.
stupid, it's
No, it's not
you.
stupid
Yeah.
because it's like
But it's
Hiccup
like,
also does that too. I feel like he
yeah,
has takes so many photos and he's like, it just doesn't go with my feed. Like it's not what I want. And I'm like, okay, well
right.
send it to me and then I'll post it on my photography account so we at least can
For
get it
sure.
publicly out there. And
Yeah,
that's what
there
I
is
just like,
like, yeah,
yeah.
I love like if I like ever
Mhm.
Google myself or if I ever see articles, I love seeing so many different photos, obviously. Like I love
Yeah.
being out in the world in so many different ways. But like for my own feed, it's like very like that
Yes.
style and it's
Because
fun,
that's
but
your
it does give
personal
me a
like
That's your
distraction.
diary.
personal, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I get that so
I sometimes
much. Yeah.
struggle about that though. I'm like, should I just switch it up? You know, like sometimes I'm like, should I just
Mhm.
start switching it up? Because a lot of my friends just have like messy feeds. And I'm like,
That's
oh,
me. Yeah.
but I well that's and that I
Yeah.
wish I had that,
Mhm.
but I've shot myself in the foot because since like 2020, I've had this like very dark
Yeah.
academia thing, which I do like it, but it does
Mhm.
prevent me from sharing other styles of work, like other
Mhm.
aesthetics, you know?
I think
Yeah.
you could transition it to similar things, but still stay true to like your brand and image.
Mhm.
Similar to how you like wore colorful things for Fashion
Yeah,
Week, but they were still eccentric and you. I
yeah,
think you could sort of transition towards that if that was something you wanted to do and still maintain like the general look of your feed because it is impressive like how far back your aesthetic goes
yeah.
and how like
Mhm.
well curated it is.
I think what I do manage to do with photo dumps is as long as the first photo is my vibe, then I can
Mhm.
flip to like colorful. Like for
Yeah.
my Fashion Week dump, I did do the colorful photos, but I
Hmm.
kept the very first one still my sort of vibe. And I don't mind
Mhm.
doing. I feel like that's a cool way to like make it work, but
Yeah.
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 still, but
Totally.
even still,
Totally.
it's like tricky. Yeah, it's really tricky.
But
It's
that's
just
what I'm saying.
iteration.
You have these mental images, like you have this way that you know you want it to look and be perceived, and you can like picture it mentally. I think that's so impressive.
Yeah, it's cool. I just call it curation in any shape, way,
Hmm.
shape, or form, right? You're just curating a certain vibe. But sometimes you want to be out of that as well. Like it's tricky. Yeah,
Kind of puts
it's a
you in like
fit.
a little cage and too.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It
No, I
does.
see that. That's so tough to even try and get out of it when you're like
I
already
know.
trapped in it for so long.
Yeah,
Your
but
brain's
that's what makes it fun is to find
Mhm.
ways to meld within that. Like even
Hmm.
I wasn't even posting like reels until 2020 or something like that. So
Hmm.
it was all just photos, you know, so there wasn't any joy on my page. There was no smiling, none of that at all. So now
Hmm.
it's like a really serious picture, and then you click on it, and it's me being like, you know,
Yeah.
so like I've already managed to build that part, and so I think it's anything's possible.
But
Exactly.
similar with what you did with your suit, I think, you can break down your own barriers in really
Yeah,
interesting ways.
right. And that's what it's all about, just storytelling.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Sorry to go back to Fashion Week because
No, it's
it was just such a big part of like September, I feel like, for you as well. Um, I was gonna ask about your runway and modeling and walking for it. I know we touched on that like already earlier on, but if you want to just
yeah.
elaborate further.
Yep.
So you've had the chance to walk the runway. How did that experience differ from attending fashion shows, and how did it feel to model in front of such a big audience or small audience?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the number one thing that I noticed about modeling is you have a very, very early call time. Like you are there at like 7 in the morning, um, with very casual clothing on, no hair, no makeup done, nothing. Like you just have to show up and be there on time, like for 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. But then the modeling is until like 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. So your entire day is waiting around for 5 seconds of your life, like literally maybe 10 seconds realistically of your life. So that's the number one thing to like be aware of if you ever want to model or if you're, there's a lot of process and a lot of the process doesn't even slightly involve you until the last few moments because I was in a roster of like 16 other models, I would say, like between 12 and 16 models. So everyone's getting their attention with their hair, their makeup. And then, I have my little 5 minute like moment with the
Mhm.
hair, 5 minute moment with the makeup. Then an hour before it's time to get into the outfit. And then you do you get to try the walk. with the music playing. So at that point, it was really fun. But like, there's a lot of waiting around. There's a lot of time, a lot of process, a lot of moving parts. Sometimes the set design people for the runway and the chairs even don't arrive until like 2 hours before. So like, there's just people everywhere. It's havoc, and it's glorious. It's really fun. But like, I can't even imagine what it must be like for big modeling spaces, like big ones, big operations with
Mhm.
floral arrangements, with like gifts on every chair. With if you think about it like that, like that's it's a lot of work. Is basically what I. Even
Yeah.
for me, I was in a small designer with a very low budget. Um, Everything was kind of just let's go kind of thing. Everyone does their job really well, and if someone doesn't do their job well, it would reflect on the runway. Like down to like catering, like we all obviously got given coffee and food
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But think about if that didn't show up, like we would be like, because
Yeah, no,
everyone like
for sure.
so many moving parts, so many moving parts. But I would say the cool thing about doing the runway from someone that if you've never done it before, you do get to practice, which is nice. You get like an hour where they play the music on loop, and I got to like just experience the song,
Mhm.
work out my pacing. I got to wear the outfit an hour before, so I was in the garments. I was ready to like feel because you've probably seen the memes of like sometimes people fall over, sometimes people like something falls off. It's usually because they haven't been given time to practice. So
Mhm.
I'm really thankful that Janelle, the designer, gave us that time to really work it all out.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is, like, as soon as it's done, it's like you're just like done. Like, there's no operation. Like, everyone just cleans up, and it's like I just went out with my friends as soon as it was done.
Oh,
Like, literally, the music stops. We did the round. We did the clap at the back, and then it's like, all right, off we
I
go.
would think that there'd be like a party after,
Well,
like,
some brands might do
food.
that, but like for
Yeah,
us, like it was like my friends waited for me outside, and it was like, all right,
done.
it
That
was like so weird.
was
Like,
it.
yeah, that was it, I guess. Um,
Wow. Okay.
but yeah, the number one thing that struck me was like how much time
Hmm.
and effort goes
Yeah.
into these things. And time, I don't mean detrimentally. I don't mean like, oh, I had to wake up early. I mean like it's impressive how like
Yeah.
everything just is so quick.
Hmm.
And for the models, we're just like the last speck of it. If you think about it, like there's so much more that goes into it, like the setting up of all of the
Hmm.
scenery and the outfits have to be steamed and like the hair and makeup have to be there before the models. It's like kind of crazy.
Yeah, because like as like I feel like um as someone who's like watching the show, you see them for the clothes, but you don't really think about the intentions behind it.
No.
So it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
cool to be like working behind the scenes because then you get to see the process and like it's not just like making the clothes and then getting like people to walk it. Like it's so much more than
For
that.
sure. And like this is also another interesting thing. I'm sure even Hiccup might think this interesting, but
Mm.
photography and video is being done the moment that I even stepped foot in my sweatpants into the venue. Like there's videographers and photographers doing like behind the scenes content for the designer or for a magazine or for whatever they're doing. And it's like there's not really much free space for people. Like everyone's kind of just doing their thing, which is cool. But like photography and media begins at the very beginning, like before the show. If the runway is only like the final part that the audience gets to experience, but for the designer, like they're getting all these different content pieces, angles. They get the stock photos for their website sometimes just before the runway. We all do like an official photo. And that's what goes on some of these bigger publications. Which is so crazy. Like I didn't know any of this. So I'm just like, like
It's like, yeah, I guess like
Insider
insider
information.
information. So true.
yeah, like the publications sometimes get the access behind like BTS. So
Hmm.
they get like you'll see some of these maybe famous photographers or whatever, they'll be shooting the models before the show. Like and
Hmm.
it is literally just before the show, like somewhere nearby. And it's kind of cool. Like it's very freelancey. Everyone's just kind of doing their own thing, having fun. It's
Hmm.
definitely cool.
Yeah, I was gonna touch after that question kind of like it's kind of goes together, but how did you balance attending events, creating content for yourself, and also interacting with other creators? Was that like hard to
Yeah,
balance since like now you actually had to run like walk the runway and do some
yeah.
more?
I can even like I wonder if I can even show you like I did it via notes app and I would schedule myself every like 30 minutes like what I was doing. And I would even include like I'm walking from this place to this place, I'm taking the subway from this place to
Yeah.
this place. And that was how I did it. And I actually, it might be just me being like super ADZ kind of vibes, but I would schedule in like this half hour I'm gonna take photos. Like I'm gonna make sure that I take some photos. This half hour I'm gonna eat something. Like
Yeah.
down to like the self-care as well as the work. And then the best part was like when you get to actually like if for like 2 hours I'm hanging out with my friends, content creator friends, that's great because then it's like we might make photos, we might take photos of each other's outfits, we might make a video together, but ultimately we're just gonna have fun. So
Yeah.
like I think the balance was organic for the
Mhm.
most part, but making sure that you check in with yourself every hour. Like, am I
Mhm.
hydrated? Do I have enough like
Yeah.
food in me? Um, the good thing about having content creator friends is we would take pictures of each other often. Like before the event, we would all go out and like take our fit pics for each other, which was really cool. There's always like one or two people that have the digi cams,
Mhm.
like, and everyone
Yeah.
else is, I'll airdrop it to you, and it's nice, like when you have friends like that that you can trust, like it does become that kind of community where everyone's helping each other out. So that's how I would say the balance just came from like organic, like surrounding yourself with those really nice people. And um, in terms of the schedule, like I made sure that I was only modeling twice for like two designers because I
Mhm.
knew that that would take up that 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. block, which meant I couldn't attend some of the shows that I wanted to attend.
Mhm.
So you did have to plan it ahead. Oh, also, I'm not sure if this is interesting, but you have to apply for shows like 3 weeks to a month before you actually can get invited, and you have to pick yourself typically with like a PR kit or some kind of like EP kit, like an electronic press kit. These are all just things that I do. Um,
Mhm.
it's not really a secret. It's more just that's what everyone does. Like about 3 weeks before is like the sweet spot. How
Okay,
do I
that's
know this?
pretty good
Just
to
from
know.
finding it out. Yeah.
Really good
There's
to know
even
because I want to go next year. So hopefully
there's
I
like
can create
yeah,
something.
there's even YouTubers that make videos about here's how to get invited. And I admittedly the first time I watched them and I was like, okay. So then I found out that 3 weeks is like the time to email, and you just find the press email and you try your best to get in, whether it's as a photographer, a content creator, um, a press person.
Yeah.
With you like sending these PR packs and like managing your time, but still like having space to have like organic interactions with your friends. I think it's so like impressive how you can create like treat content creating as a career and as a job when some people treat it as just like a little side gig or just
Yeah,
like something they're doing for fun. And I'm so impressed by how you're really professional and you make it obviously like a career, but you also keep like the organic aspect of having your fashion friends, of like doing this because you love it and not letting it become too much consumerism and too much,
yeah.
like consumerism content core.
And that's it. Like even like again, this is just a big testament to my friends for sure. Like the community that I've kind of built with a lot of my content creator friends, like seeing them as like we meet and we immediately start filming. It's like we just hang out and then we might take some pictures, we might take some videos, or I mean me, I'll have on my notes app. Oh, I have a couple audios that I'd love to try. Like but
Hmm.
that's
Mhm.
organic. Like it's
Yeah.
still like I just like to be prepared with TikTok audios because then I
Yeah.
love to know what I'm
Of
gonna
course.
film.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's trends that you can do with your friends. So it's like I'll text them beforehand, being like, "Are you down to do this one?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, like definitely." So a
Hmm.
lot of it's just like communicating like a nice person and just being polite and like
Yes.
it's yeah, like even when you showed up, I think I was like filming a TikTok, right? I was like in the middle, like, and it's just like that's like a good example of like, sure, it's like technically work, but like it's also fun. Like it should be,
Mhm.
especially for me, like my content is very just like me having a fun time. So if I'm
Mhm.
miserable, I'm not gonna film anything because I'm just not gonna be in the mood to like I don't want to fake anything. Like
Yeah.
that would be the least. A lot of people do,
Yeah.
but I don't I can't do
I
that.
love how you include like the people you're around too. Like when you included me, I don't usually do that stuff, but it was so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. It's like fun and like for my Snapchat. Yeah, like I did a cute
Yeah.
little thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and that's what it's all about. It's like people love to see it. Like the audience, people just love to see someone having fun and like I don't treat myself like better than anyone whatsoever. I just think I'm
Hmm.
a fun style person. So of course I want to bring other people into my videos and things because it's like fun.
Hmm.
It's like a
Yeah.
fun thing to see.
And I
I
think
just love how naturally you do that.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like we lack a lot of that, like authenticity in the fashion world right now, and it's so nice to see like people like you and like what like with the blog, like that's our intentions is to create like an authentic, vulnerable, just real,
Yeah.
like put out real stories and real people.
That's the strength in Jamina's writing also, because I have a lot of articles that are like really researchy and like a lot of like kind of academic like content that's kind of hard to get through. But Jamina's writing is so personal and vulnerable and authentic. Please talk more about that.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, I really like touch base because the way I speak too, I'm very passionate and I always strive on like authenticity because I just, I don't want to fake it. Like, what you see is what you get is in my mind all the time. And I just, if people like me, they like me. If they, it's if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. It's just how I live too. I mean, I have such a great group of people surrounding me as well. And I don't know, they make it okay to be vulnerable, but the way that I write, I just do it my way and I don't really think about the vulnerability aspect of it. I'm just like it's just me and if people
Yeah.
feel it and if people relate to it, that's great, but it's just me, so I'm just gonna write how I feel and that's just how I
But
write.
I love having like AOTO in your blog posts because my stuff is so like info dumpy and like trying to speak eloquently, but yours is like speaking about like raw human experiences with fashion, with your
Yeah,
mother, with like everything. So I think it really brings that like personal aspect, and that's why these interviews are so fun to do
so
because
fun.
like
Yeah.
it's just so raw and real.
Yeah, and because like I think like in this world it's everyone just forgets that we are human. We have emotion. It's okay to just let it out. And I know that there's so many people that have that brick wall and block and it's I mean, I was like that before and then it's just so much better to see someone so open and so okay with their vulnerability and it's so I don't know, it's just I you don't see that a lot anywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I really respect you too for just being the way you are, no matter what, no matter like the public, whatever.
for
It's
sure.
staying true to who you are, and that's
Yeah.
what I admire so much.
And if
And
you think about like if you look at the trajectory of like my social media ascension,
Mhm.
the only reason that I had like gotten a lot of followers was because of those videos where I started posting like it was kind of this whole thing of like I don't even care what people are gonna say. Like I'm just gonna leave the house as myself.
Hmm.
And that was like as soon as I started posting that like tonality, like lens, I would say. It didn't even feel like a lens, obviously, but if you look
Mhm.
back to like if I look at on TikTok, you can click a thing where it's like most popular videos, so you can see like all your most popular. Almost all my videos that are popular are like when people are nice to me on the street, like in the background, like when someone says
Hmm.
something really nice. Those ones do like millions of views, and it's like crazy because I never thought that would be part of my journey, but like that's what people want to see. It is something that is like a they want to see human connection.
Yeah.
And I just happened to get into the fashion sphere because of the outfits, but like it's actually I would say it's more about the essence of that moment, and
Hmm.
that's what people want to see more of. Like it's definitely needed on social media because otherwise my videos wouldn't go viral in that sense
Hmm.
when those things happen, right? Like it's
Hmm.
multiple videos. It's not just like one. So
Yeah.
I think there's a trend of like hope and joy
Yeah.
and like confidence,
Hmm.
all those things together. Like that's what I try and put out there. It's less about the outfit and more about like the
Confidence. I know.
yeah,
Because I feel like if
that's the
you,
overdressed part. If
oh
you're
yeah,
looking at
overdressed,
people
exactly.
like
It's like,
yeah, it's the personality, like the
exactly. It's the
overflow.
personality, it's the confidence, it's the mindset. Like when I see people also walking and they have the most extravagant outfit, but if they don't walk with confidence, I don't really see them. But you can have
For
like the most
sure.
basic outfit and you're walking with confidence. I see you. It's really the mindset and the confidence I see that like,
Yes,
that really stands out to me. And
for sure.
I think
And
that's
that's what it's all about.
important.
Yeah.
But I know it's like, growth and development. Like you have to, people don't just get confidence like this. So I mean, to just and my part off, I just want to ask, like, how did you f figure out a way to be confident in your way, in the way that you
Yeah.
do? for other
Yeah.
people who are, struggling, who just like, I mean, for me before too, like I would put on outfits and I'm like, okay, I can't wear this out. Never mind. Like, and I did
Hmm.
full fashion shows in
That's
my
the,
bathroom
yes.
until I
That's
went,
why,
okay, I'm gonna do this.
yeah. A lot of people comment like exactly what you just said. People are in my comments saying that. Like they'll be like, "You're the person that now you're the reason that I now am stepping outside wearing that thing," which is so cool. I would definitely say like I grew up as like a goth. Like I was in the trad goth category for sure. I would go to school, like I would wear my makeup. Like I have photos. I actually have a video, like a viral-ish TikTok of me showing like my lore, like my past, which I can show you. I will send you it.
Please.
Um, but I would definitely would do like gothic looks, and goth was how I navigated the world through high school, and also even from like the beginning of college. To be honest, like I was still kind of in that deeply philosophical, but like nihilist energy, where it was kind of like, well, I don't care
Hmm.
anymore. Like I don't really believe in anything in the afterlife, so I'm just gonna wear whatever. Like I'm just gonna be myself. I'm just gonna live like, live my best. It was like optimistic nihilism, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, no, I was extreme as a child and as a teenager and even in my undergrad. And it was funny because I was singing opera and playing piano, like classical piano, doing a classical music degree, but I was a
But
goth.
you were a trad goth.
Yeah, I was like literally goth. Um, and I would listen. It was like my days were like singing opera and then going to like a metal show, like in the same
That's the
day. Like
musician in you.
that was it, and still like I sing opera in churches like as a job, and then I go and photograph a metal show. It's like the same. I still live that life, but like um Gothic culture will always have a big part of my influence too, like all the time. I still love it. I'm friends with a lot of people that are in the goth world, the sphere, and I love it so much. There's actually a goth store in New York, by the way. Like, if you ever want to do a photo shoot of me, like in with the
I,
goth store, I'm like friends with them.
Yes, I
there's
would
one
love
that was
to.
close by to my place. I think I would walk by it every single day going to school. It's by Blick's art store. It's on kind of Astor Place area.
Um,
And there's
there's
like
one called Gothic
I
Renaissance.
think that might be it. I don't know, but I think that might
It
be
has a
it.
If
gargoyle
it's in
outside it.
St. Mark's Place, it's probably the one Jamina's thinking of.
Or like close to St. Mark's-ish. It's like
I went to
on the way going down to Fifth. I mean from third, I don't even remember the streets, but I feel like
Gothic. It's called Gothic Renaissance. It's on Fourth Ave.
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. I think that's it because I'm
Ah,
yeah, that's it because I right I walk past Fourth and then I go down to Fifth to our school. So that is probably it.
that's so
I walk
Yes,
funny.
we should
every
do
day.
that in December when Jamina is here because she'll be
Yeah,
staying at St. Mark's Place and we can use her place as like
yeah.
a little HQ.
Because
So that
St. Mark's
place,
is
like,
very,
yeah, that place is so
very
fun. Like, they reached out to
rough.
me to do some collaborations with them, the Gothic Renaissance,
Hmm.
and I got a viral video with them. It was so cool. Like, they have beautiful like Gothic Victorian stuff, and like
Hmm.
it's like I got to they're such a good like option for me because I can film from them when I'm in New York. And
Mhm.
like I still love the goth
Yes.
style. Like there might be a day where you just see me on social media looking very goth. Like that's not
Yes.
a turn off
That.
for sure. Like I love it.
Mhm.
But where was yeah, so I grew up goth and then there was like a goth to cottagecore pipeline. I don't know how that happened. I don't know, like there was a flip of a switch where I think I started leaning even more into like whimsy and less
Hmm.
into dark whimsy, if that makes any sense. Um,
Whimsical.
Whimsical.
yeah, there is such a thing. Yeah, and like, um, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there was a specific like, there wasn't like a specific day or a specific moment, but I do think that I was always fluid through goth. Like I would still wear skirts. I would still wear like all sorts of garment styles. Because a lot of people ask me that, like, when did you start wearing dresses? I'm like, I've always worn like all things,
Mhm.
just never really had a problem with that. Um, but through goth, it kind of started becoming cottagecore, and then cottagecore became my main thing, and it just like it took over. Like I started following more cottagecore accounts on Instagram, and then I was like, all right, this is what makes me happy, and it makes me comfortable, and um, it's a safe place for me, and content creation works for this because there's no like gender fluid male presenting cottagecore people. Like I can't find one. If I do find
Yeah.
one, it's like one. So I was like, I found my niche, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's my upbringing of style was definitely like goth, and then became cottagecore. So basically, I guess the overarching, like the vulnerable thing that I think about is I did find two communities that welcomed me with open arms, which is really cool. So like when you're young, like all you want is to feel like you belong to something. So I think that's why goth worked for me because it was so alternative and it was so loud and barbaric and anti. Like it worked for me. It stood out, but it was still digestible. But
Hmm.
nowadays I stand out and then a little bit less digestible because cottagecore isn't something that the random person on the New Jersey Transit, the train is going to know. Like they're not going to know what that is. So they're going to think
Yeah.
I'm going to a Renaissance fair. They're going to think that I'm like playing dress up, which maybe I am. You know, like that's the
hmm I think it's coming more into the like modern zeitgeist though. Like I feel like more people are getting more used to like personal fashion just because like Gen Z, I feel like the one thing we're gonna look back on this generation's like style of fashion is that it's unique and personable. So I
yeah.
think that like older generations are starting to recognize the like intriguing thing about that where I think with like in it used to be that like the way that people dress could tell you something about themselves. And then there was sort of this millennial beige thing where everyone was dressing the same. And Jamina struggled with this a lot, I think, with like sort of plain clothes athleisure, like people not really expressing themselves in the way they dress or making a statement. So I don't know. I think the statement wear is like what we're gonna look back on for this like time period of fashion. And it's
I
just so
hope so.
interesting.
Yeah, I hope so. Because in this town that I live in, it's like very accepting where I can wear whatever I want and no one's gonna like give me too much crap for it. But at the same time, there's a lot of pedestrian looks, I would call it, which kind of seems like sassy to say, but like I think that's the best word for it. Like just run of the mill outfit. So I still stand out like a sore thumb here,
Hmm.
but that's okay. Like it's fine if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
there's some
Mhm.
places where I simply cannot. Like if I go to like Six Flags, like the theme park,
Yeah.
I cannot wear like a Victorian dress because I'll get beat up. So like I have to like I still have to find outfits that are dated but not
Mhm.
too far for
Mhm.
the scenario, which is my biggest struggle because I don't really have that many casual fun outfits. I've been getting there though. Like thankfully that brand Kina and Tam, the one that I'm doing the berets with, they have like
Mhm.
fun um they have pants and sweaters that they sell
Mhm.
and they've given me like pretty much all of them, which is crazy that they would do that, but they gave me like all their fun pants. So I have like corduroy pants with different color corduroy and then fun sweaters.
Nice.
And like stuff like that is like a really good way of like for me, I can wear it to like the theme park. If that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's a good way to like,
Mhm.
it's a fun
Protect
outfit.
yourself also
Yeah.
just to be safe in other spaces. Like when I go home to the South, I have to like worry about the same things, so I understand.
I know, and it sucks that it's like I call it survival outfit sometimes, where it's just like you're just wearing a cute survival outfit, like something that's gonna
Mhm.
kind of not. Actually, let me just share my screen. Like this is
It's
what I
like
wore.
code switching, but for fashion.
Like
Wow.
this is like a David outfit, but it's just not like you're not gonna stare at me and want to beat me up at the theme park. You know,
Yes.
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 it's
Yes. That's the best
practical, it's
description for
utilitarian.
it.
But then you look at those pants and they're cute. Like see the
Mhm.
details,
hmm
like they're cute. Like
You're so
uh,
cute.
so that's just a good example of one of my outfits that I would wear. Like if I don't want to, like I'd wear that to like the mall, the shopping mall,
Mhm.
hmm
where it's like it's cute, it's fine, but it's also like in my brain like sensible in the sense
Yeah.
of. But if I'm in New
hmm
York, I'm wearing the big party. I don't
Oh,
care.
please. Yeah, no, that's like whenever I'm in
Yes.
New York, I'm like, finally I can dress up. I
I
mean,
know.
like
And
I can't do it
here I
here.
can too. Like in
Yeah.
this city, Asbury Park, I can wear whatever I want to.
That's so
But if
That's
I'm going like,
good.
yeah, I know. But if
I
I'm
don't
going to,
feel that way in Elizabeth.
oh, I know that sucks. Did I tell you I used to have a church job in Elizabeth. Like I would sing at this place in Elizabeth.
Was it Siloam Hope Presbyterian Church?
It was Saint something, Saint Peter's Church.
Mm,
I would need to
the
look it up.
person, the reason I moved here is I have a really close friend that's the priest at Siloam Hope Presbyterian.
Oh, that's
So
so
they
cool.
have a great choir, but it's a black church, but
Mm.
they might like you could maybe come sing for them as well. I'm
'Cause
sure we.
yeah, I'm a cancer for it's an Elizabeth church. It's an sorry, what's the word? I cancer for it. So it's like a Catholic mass. That's the word. I'm like blanking on the word. Yeah,
Oh,
it's like Catholic church. So it's like me and the organist. It's not even like a choir, which is kind of scary. But
wow.
um, so you it's in Elizabeth though. It's really close to the train station. Like you get off the train and then you're like really close to it. But yeah, like
Oh,
I've
wow.
sung in those places before, and it's like very straight. Like you're just like, oh wow, like I know exactly what you mean about that place. Like maybe not being the best place to like express yourself
Hmm.
fully because you never know, you know?
That's why it's so important that you touched on like finding a community that accepts you and
Yeah,
makes you feel, that you can be yourself and
yeah.
be your own individual. And that's what, yeah, it's so important. Be
But
surrounded by people, the
I do
people.
still love like that's the fun challenge of style
Mhm.
is finding ways to be like casual and like understated, but still
Hmm.
yourself. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like so that
exactly.
I'm never gonna go out wearing something that I don't want to wear. Like not at
Mhm.
all. Like it,
That's so
that's
smart.
where I'm at these days. Where like that outfit that I just showed you, like that's my compromise. It's like if someone sees it
Hmm.
stare at me and laugh, I'm like I don't care. Like then at that point just laugh. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
that that point
honestly.
attack. You know,
Exactly.
yeah, so funny.
Yeah. So I'm finished with all of my questions. Thank you so much for like giving me such good
Of course.
insight. Like that was awesome. You literally just are the epitome of what we're striving for and what we're trying to put out there.
It's kind of crazy how much you're the epitome of it.
No,
Like,
it's
it's
That's
so
kind of
awesome.
wild.
crazy. Like I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah,
hearing you, I was just like, oh my God, that's literally what we're all about.
that's so
So
cool.
I'm so excited to work on this, start writing, show you everything. It's so amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Course.
It's so
And is
nice
your
meeting you too.
process, yeah, of course. Is your
Yeah.
process going to be like you're making a draft and then you send it and then you kind of,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
basically what we're
And
doing.
then we'll also send you the draft layouts when it's overlaid, like with the spreads, with the photo shoot as well, just to
Yeah,
make sure everything's all good.
keep you
But
like
I'm looking forward to Monday also.
for sure. Absolutely. And is there a timeline you're thinking for the article or not really, just whenever?
I am not sure.
Our
There's a
fall,
fixed time. I mean, we're gonna launch on the 8th, so we're still that's like our first store, but we're gonna be trying to find like if there is there a time where you think like you need like that you want like a
the digital
Yeah,
article could be
yeah,
out in October, but we
yeah,
won't have the physical spread out until November.
yeah.
right. Awesome. No,
So
that's cool.
yeah, and if there's any photos you'd like to incorporate into like the articles or whatever, anything that you want to show, like please feel free to send it to my email or
Totally.
to Hiccup's email.
Yeah,
Um,
and likewise,
I'll
if you
send you
like you need anything to
Jamina's.
say that, yeah, just let me know. Like I've got a wealth of Fashion Week photos that didn't make it
also,
onto them. So like if you want to include those maybe like at the bottom or like just to flick
please,
through or something.
please,
Yeah.
and also if you have like the photographer's name or anything, just so we
Yeah.
can credit them as well, like that would be awesome. And also, yeah, you can send it over to Ado's or are you two over Jess's email? I think I sent you the Zoom link as well, so I think yeah, you might have.
Okay, yeah, I was about to send
Well,
it, but
yeah, but I can also put it down below in the chat if you
Yeah.
copy
It's
that.
actually it's actually a good idea now that I think about it. Like
Yeah.
for people that are on my end, like if they wanted to go see it, it could be a fun way to market it as like
Please,
some
yes.
never before seen Fashion Week photos. Like
Hmm.
because I've got to
yeah.
my camera roll of like just random ones of me like serving looks with people, but like that I
Yes.
didn't post. Like we could put those into the article at the end or
Please.
something.
Yes, that would
Yeah.
be
That could be
so
kind of
fun.
fun, like a little like, oh,
Gonna give
like
you an outlet for all the photos that
yeah, like click
you and
here for
we'll
some
post it
more
here.
looks.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
For
I
some
really appreciate
overdressed
it.
moments,
Yes.
like yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And also for the photos that didn't fit your cottage core, you can have like an outlet to put them on.
Yes, exactly. The more colorful. Yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, and if you need anything else, just like for the article, if you need more like paragraphs, just reach out. I'm like fully freelance, so I'm pretty much always on my laptop, like or walking around. So
Yeah,
yeah, I can help you to make it as good as you want it to be
please.
with words and things. So
Thank you so
Please.
yeah,
much.
yeah, no
Thank you
problem
so much.
whatsoever. Yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you.
Absolutely. What a
Yeah,
pleasure.
thank you. It was so nice meeting you again. Like
Yes,
it
you too. Likewise.
hopefully I can see you in December when I'm there.
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. That would be perfect. All
I would
right.
love that.
And I'll see you on Monday, right?
Yeah, I'll see you on Monday around noon. Should I just head to that coffee shop that you said?
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.